Please open the golden edition. The third page. The third page. The fourth line from the bottom of the text. The fourth line from the bottom of the scripture. The palace, following the virtues of Master Paxian. This line of scripture is the original text within the introductory section. The very first sentence. The very first sentence. That's to say, of Scripture's most important sentence. We absolutely cannot just glance over it. We learn Buddhism. Can we truly benefit from it? Just as this scripture states, to attain the benefits of true renunciation, the real benefits. In our lifetime, in practice, propagation of Dharma, the key to success or failure also lies in these aspects. From this, we can see the importance of this aspect. As mentioned earlier, the 16 Bodhisattvas, essential practice for each Bodhisattva. Do not take it lightly. You must. It is subtle and not obvious. It's necessary to have considerable wisdom and awareness in order to see it and truly understand it. It's not easy for the average person to perceive. However, once you are familiar with the scriptures, it clearly tells you. This spot garden is described within as core of view. This entire Infinite Life Sutra, from beginning to end, what is being described? It is Master Paxian, worthy of mention. Qinyan, this was during the Tang Dynasty, completed the translation of the Avatamsaka Sutra and also completed the commentary on the Avatamsaka Sutra. Afterwards, the Venerable Master, especially, took the last sentence of the Avatamsaka Sutra, put forward, stay behind after class. These gentlemen, called the circulation of the leaf. This is what you often see now. Practices and vows of Samantabhadra. The first volume of the sutra is 40 Chinese words. It is the last sentence in the entry into the realm of reality chapter, summarizing the Avatamsaka Sutra. It is the general outline of the Avatamsaka Sutra, the ultimate destination. The content of the scripture. 10 great vows, noble and blissful. Samantabhadra Bodhisattva summarized them into 10 principles. Are these 10 principles are practiced by Samantabhadra Bodhisattva? So perhaps some students might think that since they are practiced by Samantabhadra Bodhisattva, they have nothing to do with us. We are not Samantabhadra Bodhisattva. Learning Buddhism. It will be difficult to achieve. We must be able to recognize that all the bodhisattvas mentioned in the Buddha's teachings are ourselves. Everything involved, all Buddhas and Tathagatas, also ourselves. The virtuous titles of all Buddhas and Tathagatas are our own faith virtues. The names of all bodhisattvas are our own cultivated virtues. Faith cultivation are not separate. This is also the Buddha's teaching. Thus, the Buddha speaks of all worldly and otherworldly laws being different. We can understand and affirm in the Buddha's teachings. Only then can we quickly perceive, attain truth, which is not false at all. Who is Samantabhadra Bodhisattva? You must know it is yourself. We can follow what is said in the scriptures and sincerely dedicate ourselves from our own thoughts, opinions, speech, actions, and various behaviors. The meaning should be compared and contrasted with the scriptures. If what we do aligns with what is said in the scriptures, then it corresponds. If it indeed differs from what is said, we must surely take the scriptures as the standard and correct our erroneous behaviors. Are called practice. Practicing according to this scripture. I tell you all, it means following the standard of Amitabha Buddha, following the standard of Samantabhadra Bodhisattva. Amitabha Buddha, the king among Buddhas. Samantabhadra Bodhisattva, one could say, the king among bodhisattvas. You see, many of us participating have recited and Namo Samantabhadra king of bodhisattvas, the king among bodhisattvas. Among the bodhisattvas, none is more supreme than Samantabhadra. Among all the Buddhas, none is more supreme than Amitabha Buddha. Particular scripture. The king among Buddhas and the king among bodhisattvas all reside here. We have encountered this scripture. The Buddha says that getting a text is like acquiring a treasure. Indeed, truly. Having this mindset, truly like the great king of the screen, the study of medicine, cannot be appreciated once obtained. It must be understood thoroughly and deeply. Then one must follow the teachings and put them into practice. We must do it thoroughly. Where do we start? We start by leaving the environment. Yesterday, I reported to everyone. The offering is within us, within our self-confidence, the virtue of nature. Happy people Our ability to cultivate rationality is the inflow of faith virtue. Past no moral makers. Cultivate from faith. This is from the nature of technology. This method of study, can it connect with warriors from all directions? All Buddhas and Bodhisattvas respond to the great teachings. Why is that? All Buddhas and Bodhisattvas cultivate from the method of information. Today, we also pray in you. This naturally leads to a response. From this we know we also make a vow. Cultivate with a sincere heart. Can feel it. All Buddhas and Bodhisattvas respond. The principle of response. That is it. Therefore, Master Yingguang, part calm, part gain. It can also be said this way: one part becomes refined. Receive one part of the blessing from all Buddhas and Tathagatas. 10 parts serenity. Then receive 10 parts of the value from all Buddhas and Tathagatas. Everyone in this place of practice, at this time and place, we feel in this place. It's different from the feelings in our everyday life. The feeling in this place brings joy. Pure joy and delight. So some students come to tell me, when we enter the lecture hall to listen to the teachings, it's an enjoyment. These words are genuine. Why do you spend 2 hours in this place? Just to enjoy. This kind of enjoyment, you can't get it elsewhere. This enjoyment comes from what? Everyone says, is the Buddha's light shining upon us. Our place of practice is illuminated by the light of all Buddhas. Everyone is bathing in the Buddha's light here. What kind of thing is this? 1 year I was giving a lecture in Miami, USA. There were some foreigners who came every time I gave a lecture. They would sit there with their eyes closed. Because in some places abroad, people sit on the floor. There are no chairs. They all sit on the carpet, cross-legged, in meditation, with their eyes closed. He didn't understand Chinese. He couldn't understand anything I said. He came every day, so some students asked him. Upon hearing, he couldn't understand any of it. I don't understand why you didn't landfill it. This feeling is very good. He was enjoying himself, sitting cross-legged in meditation, enjoying it. As foreigners say, the magnetic field is different. It feels very comfortable for people. There are also some people with special abilities. In our Buddhist teachings, there are those with supernatural powers, those with the divine eye. What about these people? They have already said. The scenery is even more magnificent. During the time of giving a sermon at this place, there is the blessing of Buddha's light. So sitting in this place, everyone can feel joy. The reason is not that I speak well. I don't speak well at all. The second is to receive the value of Buddha. How do we receive the blessing of Buddha's power? It is through a respectful heart. Can this respectful heart be felt? The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas acknowledge it. So everyone must think about this. In worldly matters, teaching people to be honest is the first thing. In our lifetime, as we live, be sincere and honest. What does being honest look like? It means not deceiving yourself and not deceiving others. Truly being able to not deceive yourself or others and being honest with people. An honest person is extremely valuable, and the Buddha's light often shines on them, even if they don't study Buddhism. Why is he honest? The Buddha's nature is pure, and the Buddha's heart is equal. It's not like, you study Buddhism, so I'll give you special attention, but if you don't, I won't care for you. How can that be considered an equal heart? Not studying Buddhism. New, all-encompassing view. A sincere heart, Buddha knows. An equal stance, without discrimination. Honesty, precious it is. Li Jing is like that. Sincerely present. We need to be great. We must respect duties, respect the public. This person an equal understanding. No matter what, all sentient beings must leave the realm. That is, all sentient beings with feelings. When we see mosquitoes and ants, it's like seeing Buddhas and Tathagatas without crushing them. This is called practicing universal compassion. Mosquitoes, ants, small animals, they also have Buddha nature. All animals have this realization. Even plants and minerals have this realization. Therefore, everything deserves respect. If we cannot achieve this, what? To be honest, it's not that you can't do it, it's that you're unwilling to do it. If you decide to do it, there's nothing you can't achieve. Nowadays, people say things can't be done. The ancients said there are only two difficult things: reaching the heavens. Asking for help is difficult. This matter is about relying on yourself, not asking others for help. What's hard about self-reliance? Let our true character fully show. This matter is about relying on oneself, not truly asking for help. So you must be determined and serious with yourself. Nowadays, disasters are frequent around the world. If we don't seriously and diligently cultivate ourselves, how can we save and guide ourselves in the future? In my daily life. Isn't it different from the outside news? I don't watch TV. Here at our Jinshong Society, every bit of news on TV is internal. There's no external antenna, so we can't receive outside broadcasts. We don't listen to radio. We don't watch teachers. Some classmates told me in the past month or two they saw on TV Antarctica. The ice is melting. This issue is quite serious. If the ice in the polar regions melts, the sea level will rise. All coastal cities around the world will sink to the bottom of the sea. Where do disasters come from? Some people always think, oh, it's a natural disaster. There's nothing we can do about it. Scientists attribute these events to natural disasters. Natural calamity. Responsibility is shared. In Buddhism, this is not the perspective. Buddhism teaches that all disasters are caused by ourselves. Who caused it? Not others. I caused it myself. Can you believe this? If you choose to believe it, then congratulations, you've become enlightened. If you don't believe it and refuse to acknowledge it, you haven't awakened. It is indeed caused by myself. If everyone could become self-aware and reform themselves, these disasters would be eliminated. Where does the water come from, you might ask? Among those present, many have operated a noodle machine. The Buddha said clearly in the Surangama Sutra, greed is like sleep. Morning meetings are like fire. Pleasure is like the wind. The imitation of water, fire, and wind. If we say that everyone in the world is desperately increasing carbon into matter with acceleration, it's increasing in this world. These three phenomena, the phenomena of water, fire, and wind arise. The environment is a forecast that changes with the main report. The main report is our mind. The Buddha always advises us to extinguish greed, anger, and ignorance. If everyone could extinguish these three, the ecological environment on this planet would quickly return to normal. Then there would be no such disasters. Besides greed, anger, and ignorance, there is also arrogance. Arrogance is considered a form of slowness. What is the national news? Earthquake. Arrogance creates great imbalances, inequalities in height and depth. So where do these natural disasters come from? They are influenced by the human mind. The human mind manifests them. The Buddha's teachings on these principles and methods are indeed true. They can truly eliminate all disasters. Where do we eliminate them from? It all starts from within the mind. This is called internal learning and using inner strength to change the external environment. So no matter how we interact with people or situations, show respect always. Everyone, we cannot help the masses. If the masses cannot change, can it be effective? If I change alone. If I change alone, for example, the masses are collective. The Buddha told me at the assembly, about collective karma and individual karma results. If on your graduation certificate, even in the most adverse collective karma, you remain calm. During great disasters, there are still many who are spared. It's a different analogy. There is a great disaster. Those who are not affected by the disaster, if you observe carefully, you'll find that person has a very kind heart. They appear less arrogant and foolish. They have many compassionate and kind thoughts. It must be such a person. So this. How can one not read the scriptures? How can one not seek the deep well? How can one not follow the teachings of the spiritual guide? I hope our fellow students, in all matters, in all places, with a sincere, pure, equal, and compassionate heart, show respect. Make this a habit. True cultivation. Truly diligent effort. True diligence is not about how many parts you complete every day. If you recite the Infinite Life Sutra 10 or 20 times a day, if your thoughts, words, and actions do not align with what is often taught, reading it 200 times a day would be in vain. It's useless.